If I personally am able to steal a car out of your parking lot without you knowing, you're immediately fired. Sometimes I give them benefit of doubt, but I really try to sneak in and get these cars out of the lot. Test them. So all the time, they're looking over their shoulders thinking, is Alex coming? Is this coming? Is that coming? So what I did, I rode up on my motorcycle this day, and they didn't notice. And what I see is a Mercedes GL 500, 550, maybe a 450, but overall it's a $60,000 truck, and the windows rolled down. I'm a little upset about that, so with my helmet on, I parked the motorcycle in the back and walk up to the car. They don't try to stop me. I don't even think they see me. I notice a bright orange lanyard attached to Mercedes keys. I have time to take a picture of this. Boom. I look at the distance. The valets are at least 60 feet away. I take a picture of that. I get in the car with the helmet on and drive away. I drive away for a little while, probably come back in the parking lot 2, 3, 4 minutes later. I have my helmet off at this time. The valets are like, oh, when'd you get this new Mercedes? I didn't get this new Mercedes. I just stole it out of your parking lot. I get a call one day and the valet states, Alex, you have to see this. I'm about to send you a text message of what's in this box. So I look at it and I said, what is that? And it's a little blue packet that looks like it has residue in it. He says, it looks like, so I said, obviously. I'm like, sniff it, see what it is. He didn't think that was funny, but obviously I'm like isolated to the side. Let me see what's going on. So it took me about an hour. I get over to the parking lot and yes, it definitely looks like. Obviously I didn't have it tested, but the bigger concern is who left it there. Was it the valet from the night before? Was it a customer from the night before? It could have been anything. The valet picked it up, threw it in a box. I want to give him benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, I'm very cautious. I don't need valets that are high out in the field parking $100,000 cars. It's already enough that they're 21 years old. I don't need that as an added charge on top of everything else. So what we did, I called the valet into the office. I was very straight up with him. I told him what happened, what I found, and what I felt the problems could be. So I asked him straight up, was it his? He said, no, absolutely not. I said, well, where did it come from? He said he didn't know. If he did pick it up from another customer, fine, you would say that, you admit that, but overnight it didn't just magically come into our key box. So I asked him to test, to do a voluntary test, and he said no, and he refused to, and essentially quit. So we pretty much know what the answer was, but we have to eliminate that completely from our company. We cannot play around with that. Now, this one account that we had parking, but it was underground, and they wanted us there as soon as they were able to get their permit to open up the doors, but they were still doing construction. So we were able to take this Mazda Miata, I think it was an NA1, so first generation Miata, down the parking deck, but there was still construction. So there was sometimes a running over nails, which we don't like doing. But this one day, we ran over a bolt. And what I mean by a bolt, a 7-inch bolt went through the tire, punctured through the rim, and obviously caused it to go flat. The valet was lucky because the tire was such a low profile tire that it didn't lose control. I believe if it was a big 70 series tire and he punctured through all of that, he would have kind of rolled and hit the wall as he was going down. But this one, it only went through, so it just kind of flathered and he felt it and he was able to still control it into a parking space, but he couldn't believe it. Of course, it's our fault. The customer's upset with us and he wants us to pay for it. The rim was only a couple $100, but then we had to get the tire. But I said, you know what? I'm keeping this wheel. So this wheel is on the wall in my garage right now. I didn't say anything. I wanted to hear what this customer had to say. And without getting too political with everything, a white customer called me and said he had a black girlfriend or wife, and the valet purposely did not open an umbrella for her as they exited out of the restaurant while it was raining. Now, this restaurant was kind of a weird setup. Usually you see valet parking that has, you come in at the same place and you leave at the same place. This restaurant didn't have that. You came in this way, but you exited out that way. So what this customer saw when a car came in, he had the umbrella for the lady and he let her inside the restaurant. When he pulled up towards the exit and made her walk all the distance for this black lady, and he was very offended that he didn't offer an umbrella. The valet, who happened to be white, really nice guy, and the irony is, has a black girlfriend, which the guy didn't know, said, "Sir, you had an umbrella. That's why I figured you were going to walk her to the car," because sometimes people are very chivalrous where they say, "No, let me walk my wife to the car. Thank you very much. Here's your tip." But instead, he got very upset, very offended, and thought we were being racist and called the office to make a point that the valet was being racist and our company was, in fact, a racist company for not holding an umbrella up, walking her to the car, and making her walk further than the people had just pulled in. So I had to explain everything, but better yet, I said, "You know what, sir? Let me meet you at the restaurant." So I meet him at the restaurant, and his jaw dropped when he realized that we were not as racist as he first figured. And then, in fact, I shared with him that the valet who, in fact, did that actually has a black girlfriend. It was a bad misunderstanding. And it was a bad choice that, yes, he should have offered at least to hold the umbrella up to walk her to the car. We never want to be like that for anybody. We employ everybody from black, white, Asian, Muslim, anything. In the world of valet parking, any valet company would be lying to you if they didn't tell you that they love private events. Private events are parties that happen either at someone's home, at an event center, headquarters, something like that. We absolutely love it. So we had this one party for the BET Awards. And with the BET Awards, we'll have all these little parties pop up all throughout Atlanta, and we'll just staff them accordingly. But this one was supposed to be only 200 people. 200 people is easily 4 to 5 valets. They can definitely handle that kind of volume, no problem. I get a call and I'm out to dinner and, "Alex, we're out of control." "Excuse me?" He's like, "These cars will not stop coming in." Found out that P. Diddy was there and T.I. and all of these people. The reason the house became so popular, this is a very popular house because it was owned by, if you ever watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta, I think Kim Zolciak, I think her boyfriend, or whatever it was called, Big Papa, I think it was a house that belonged to him. And the bank now controlled the house, and the bank would actually lease the house out to parties in order to supplement the loss of income until they were able to sell that house. Turns out 200 people was really 2,000 people. And this is in the middle of Buckhead, and they don't have the streets to support that kind of parking. So we have cars all up and down the row. And mind you, I only have 5 or 6 valets working. So even with 20 valets, it would have been a lot of work. But I had to call in an extra team, get them going, get them out there, and just park these cars as much as possible. We had 3 valets in their personal cars, just driving valets to get other cars because it was that far away. It was almost a mile at a point to pick up a car. It was a mess, and secretly we were hoping the police would come in and shut the party down because that's how insane it was. You would think, how do you get 2,000 people into a party, into a house in Buckhead? If you have a 20,000 square foot house with swimming pool and all this sitting on 4 or 5 acres, it can happen, and it did. It was a mess. It was truly a mess. People were driving over the grass, not the valets, but the customers trying to get in to get their cars valeted. It was an out of control mess. And the crazy part is we tried to go back to the billing to get additional hours for the additional valets we had to bring in, and they pretty much skirted us. So I think we lost a couple of $1,000s on that event. So we are very insistent. If you request 5 valets for 200 people, we are parking up to 200. Now, if it's 300 people, we're not going to go crazy. But if we see it's going out of control, we're going to shut down the party from the valet side because we're not going to be liable for millions of dollars worth of cars that we can't control because we only have 10 valets trying to control close to 1,000 cars. That's not going to happen. So that was truly an out of control event, and that's totally insane for us. But we make sure this will not happen again.